Welcome back, baseball fans. And today we are eliminating the world champion Detroit Tigers in a stunning move, shaking up the whole postseason playoffs, etc., and so on. We're looking at the box score of the fifth and final game of the wild card round between Kansas City and Detroit, and again, it is Bob Johnson. Another complete game. This time he gave up 2 runs. He struck out 22 Tigers in 2 complete games. Denny McLain gave up 3 runs early off a 2-run homer by Kirkpatrick. And by the time it was the ninth inning, they left McLain in there, and they had just given up by then. They said, you know what, McLain, you finish it. And it was 6-0. By that time, Detroit put 2 garbage runs up on the ninth inning. And that was the end of that. And then this is the stats of the Tigers from last year, winning the World Series. They were 37-24, World Series champions. The Game 7 win went to Jack Morris in relief. Willie Hernandez got the 11th and final save of the year for him. Some great hitting throughout. Really, it was a team effort for the Tigers last year. And compare that now with this season. Last year they had 274 with a 326 ERA. The hitting is the same. The ERA is a half a run worse, 373. But you could say the whole league is pitching is a little bit worse. McLain and Lolich are both 6-5. Willie Hernandez only had 6 saves. Lou Whitaker had 41 RBIs last year. This year he has 15. Willie Horton was the all-star, 13 homers and 37 RBIs and 287 batting average. They were good. They just ran up against a hot pitcher in Kansas City who beat him twice in 5 days in a short series. And that's it for your Detroit Tigers. Their season's over. So is it over for the Detroit Tigers altogether? Well, I'm not sure. We'll find out. So the Detroit Tigers sort of find themselves right now where they were after winning the 1968 World Series. They're going to have the 1969, 70, 71, and 72 players, but they won't have the luxury of the 80s Trammell and Whitaker and Jack Morris and Lance Parrish and Willie Hernandez, etc. So let's see who's staying and who's going. Goodbye, Willie Hernandez. You won helped win a World Series last year. Wilcox threw a shutout in the wild card round last year. McLain, Lolich, Coleman. Brookins, just a utility guy, no big loss there. Kuntz again, similar. Brand. Alan Trammell, we're going to miss you in the middle of the infield for the Tigers, as we will Lou Whitaker. It's going to be hard to replace that. Northrup and Kaline and Cash and Horton, of course, coming back. Krenchicki was a serviceable platoon player, had some big hits. He had a home run in Game 7 of the 2019 World Series. Andre Thornton, actually surprisingly at 33 home runs with this card. Was your DH who batted 8th with 33 home runs. So this really was a loaded Detroit team. And that's that. So do any of these guys come back? Andre Thornton, I don't think so. His career doesn't start till the mid-70s. Krenchicki, no. Whitaker, of course, and Trammell, no. Rusty Kuntz, no. Brookins, I don't think so either. Now, Milt Wilcox is an older pitcher. He actually pitched for Cincinnati in the early 70s. So Milt Wilcox could come to the Tigers much sooner than he actually did. So we'll look at Milt Wilcox. Willie Hernandez, no. He came up through the Cubs in the middle 70s. And there's that. So these are your Detroit Tigers. Moving on. Right here. Moving forward. And they certainly don't want to give up. Get that taste of that out of their mouth. They don't want to have this World Series team broken up this soon. They feel like they still have some years left to contend for a World Series. Looks like they're bringing their pitching back and not bringing much hitting back. So it'll be Roseboro and Freehand behind the dish. Norm Cash at first base. And an outfield. and a good outfield. Horton, Northrop, K-Line. So it's quality over quantity. You got the outfield is set. You got your catcher, first base, corner set. Nothing in the middle. Second, third, and short, completely blank. Guys like, I'm thinking off the top of my head, guys like Aurelio Rodriguez, Dick McAuliffe, Ed Brinkman are out there. Can I do better than that? Let's see. Well, first let's look at the pitching. So immediately, the two big guns are still there, Lolich and McLean. And who's better between the two guys? I guess you could say the 24-game winning Denny McLean is slightly better than Lolich. But Joe Coleman won 20 games here. So that's a damn good rotation with these three guys. Those three guys. These right-handed relievers. Now, Keeley, it wasn't his fault. He lost that game we broadcast. But it really was, they hit this single 1-2, which is crazy. Howie Reed, though, should not be a setup man. He should be a long man. And Hiller takes Willie Hernandez's spot. So they need a lefty. They need one lefty and one righty. So I'm not really concerned with that. What I am concerned with the Tigers is building that infield. So let's see what they can get. Okay, here are your Detroit Tigers. They're still good through 72. They only won 86 games. Billy Martin was the manager, but they lost in 5 games in the ALCS. So there's still a high level of expectation in Detroit to battle the Orioles in the American League East during this era. And they don't have to face the Orioles because they're in a separate division with Cleveland and 2 expansion teams. So I expect Detroit to return to where they were. So this is the 72 Tigers. We already have Lolich. We have Freehan. We have Coleman. A-Rod is... he's actually on one of the expansion teams, known mostly for his glove. So they're not going to be able to get him unless they trade for him. So they're still looking for a third baseman. Woody Fryman is also an expansion team. There's K-Line, Cash. McAuliffe. Now, McAuliffe, he will probably be brought up. It's a question of which year for McAuliffe. Let's look at his career really quickly in another tab. Dick McAuliffe, I know he has a good year in 73 or 4. Right, 73 McAuliffe has an 804 OPS and a 366 on base. But, I mean, he was 33 years old and he had a great year. You got 4 years of McAuliffe to pick from. The 70 McAuliffe walks 101 times and has a 358 on base, but he's got a 369 on base and 69 with an 826 OPS. It's going to be McAuliffe. He will replace Whitaker. We like Dick McAuliffe, so it will be him. The question only remains, which year do you choose? And as far as other pitchers go, I believe Timmerman, one of these years, Tom Timmerman's really good. Could be this year. Timmerman's 8-10 with a 2.89 ERA. You only need one more starting pitcher, so it could be Timmerman here if you don't want to go for Milt Wilcox. We'll look at Wilcox in a little bit. Chuck Seelbach is a good reliever as well. If you're looking for that lefty, you got Fred Sherman. They're all available. As far as infield goes, again, Brinkman and A-Rod. So you're not going to get a corner option out of this. Tony Taylor is available, but he's not available. He's in Philadelphia. So let's go back to 71. I think you're going to see the same stuff, though. Lolich, Coleman, Freehan. There's Fred Sherman. So I think it's going to be Fred Sherman will join Hiller in the bullpen. So we're looking at Sherman and McAuliffe. Gates Brown. One of these Gates Brown cards is amazing. This is the one. 338 in limited plate appearances. Your outfield is full, though, but I think he could be your DH. Yeah, he's got a great card in 71. Mickey Stanley, where do you put him at? I guess first base against lefties with platooning with Norm Cash. Again, you're gonna be looking for third base and shortstop. And there's the nice Fred Sherman card. Let's keep going back to 70. And Lolich, K-Line. It's good to see that. I mean, you're going to have this core together for the Tigers for a bit. Necro is elsewhere, and they don't really need him in this era. McAuliffe, that's a good year there. Freehand, Hiller, Cash, Les Kane, and Willie Horton. Les Kane in the rotation. You're still looking at, well, here's a shortstop, Cesar Gutierrez, 415 at-bats, he hit 243, not much stick. Don Wirt, not much stick either, hitting 218 at third base. So let's keep going back to 69. 69, you got McLean and Northrup and Lolich and Cash and K-Line, McAuliffe, Willie Horton, Earl Wilson, that's a new name. Earl Wilson. He actually pitches on the rotation. So again, Detroit's pitching staff is fine. They can put a pitching staff together. It's easy. They can bring McAuliffe on the team. They can put Gates Brown on this team. And then the only question is the left side of that infield. Replacing Alan Trammell and the platoon at third base they once had. It's not apparent. Here's Tom Tresh, it's not very good. Don Wirt's not very good. So it seems like they'll probably have to go the free agent route. And they may actually make a trade. Dick Trzeski, no. Yeah, so that's the weakness. Third base and shortstop for the Tigers. Once they figure that out, they're going to be contending for the World Series again and for years ahead. Future's still looking bright. Still looking good for the Tigers because they don't have to play in the American League East against the Orioles. They're in their own division. And that's the wrap. Thank you for watching these videos. We'll see you again next time.